Does writing a book feel big to you? Trust me, I know exactly how you feel, especially if you want to write a book that helps attract clients and opportunities for your business or your personal brand. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you a really quick exercise that will help make that process feel very doable. I'm Denise Renee, a business book writing coach and manuscript editor. I can help you write a book that shares your experience or expertise and grows your personal or business brand. This video is one piece of that puzzle, so let's jump in. Hey writers! So I have another different video for you today. It is actually a recording of an intimate workshop that I did back on February 20th, 2025 for a group that I'm a part of called HypeHQ. Now, if you've never heard of HypeHQ, if you're a woman in business, you definitely want to know. Now, we don't typically make sessions that are intended for the group public, but I asked the founder, Paulina, for permission to get a recording so that I could have it as a replay for my YouTube channel. You're welcome. So, if you are a woman in business, whether you're a professional working corporate 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are, or you have your own business, your own brand that you are building, or you're like me, you're a little bit of both. You've got one foot in both worlds. Hype HQ is such a supportive community of women that will not only hype up your content, because who doesn't need genuine engagement on their content to help push it out to the algorithms? We do. But it's also a really supportive community where we have weekly events every Thursday, ranging from networking to accountability, co-working sessions to learning sessions such as the one I presented at last week. Now, full disclosure, I am one of the ambassadors for HypeHQ. So I encourage you, if you're going to check it out, use the link that you see on the screen. And I also have it linked below in the description box. And it will just let Paulina know that I referred you. But come check us out, because you'll have access to great workshops like this. And I'm not just saying that because it was me, but you know. So, in this intimate workshop, I share a little bit of my own story as to why it is that I know firsthand how big writing a book can be. Yes, me, someone who's been a professional writer for years and who's edited other manuscripts and ghostwritten for other clients. Even for me, writing a book is a huge deal. So I share a little bit of that story, talk to the ladies that are there, they share their feedback, and you might find that some of what they're experiencing is part of your experience as well. Of course, we get into the exercise and I answer questions. So check the description box for timestamps if you'd like to navigate through the video. Now, I will say this is a Zoom recording, so the quality isn't the greatest, but it did smooth out my skin like, what? Let me find out. Can I get this in 4K? But anyhow, here's the presentation. Let's get into it. Alrighty, ladies. Well, hello, Hype HQ ladies. Thank you for showing up. My name is Denise Renee, and I am a business book. I always want to say ghostwriter because I used to ghostwrite and so I am a business book writing coach and a manuscript editor. I've been focused on helping people with their books since about 2018. But I had a pause in my business for about 5 years. And so I'm just now sort of coming back out and rebranding and rebuilding and all that kind of good stuff. So right here on the screen, I just have a quick way to reach out to me, writingwithDeniseRenee.com. Find me on LinkedIn, find me on YouTube. Those are the places that I am typically on. But anywho, so I want to start really quickly by something that I shared on a recent YouTube video. A couple years ago, I took I'm a writing nerd. Okay, just number one, hands down. I am a writing nerd, reading nerd. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So I'm always looking for another course, looking for, if somebody's got something interesting, about writing, copywriting that I want to learn, I'm going to take it. So I was in a community a couple years ago with another, big time copywriter. His name is Onyx Singal. And one of the things that he shared was like, when you're marketing and you're positioning yourself, you don't want to come off as Batman. Nobody can relate to Batman. That man is a billionaire. Okay. He has so much money. He's only Batman because of his money, because he owns this company where he can procure all this tech and do all this stuff and come up with the tanks and the armor and all this kind of stuff, right? He's so inaccessible to the average person. You don't want to come off in your business, in your marketing, as if you are Batman. Instead, you want to position yourself as Robin. Robin is like the everyday man. Um, Robin doesn't have extra special money or anything like that. He doesn't have anything extra special. Yes, he can fight, but anybody can learn how to fight, right? So Robin is really relatable. And Robin's specialty is really helping Batman out in that pitch. So his whole thing was don't be Batman, be Robin. But my problem was, I was like, I don't know, because when it comes to writing, I am Batman. And I just had to laugh at myself. Because I'm like, well, I went to school for this. I've been doing this for a long time. Da, 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 da. And I felt like, well, this is really hard for me because how in the world can I relate to people who are struggling with writing when I won't say it's never been my struggle, but I learned how to write at an early age. And I've been doing it for a long time. So I'm like, I can't position myself. Yeah, right? However, I recently found my Robin story. Okay. I can definitely relate because even though I've been helping people with writing and copywriting and marketing and da 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 for years and years and years, one of the things that I've never done myself is write my own book. I have copywritten for, I'm sorry, I've ghostwritten for other clients. And, I've helped other clients, I've edited other clients, and their books are out there in the world. But I don't have a book out there that has my name on it. And here's the reality a lot of people think about writing a book, but the idea of writing a book is so big. It's like, I mean, can you all relate? You're welcome to come off mute and talk back to me and let me know. Does the idea of writing a book feel really big?
Yes.
Yeah, it feels huge.
Yeah. It's like, well, first of all, I need to be some brilliant expert in my field. I probably should be in my field for 15, 20 years. I probably should have had all these different accolades. I probably should have all of this stuff before I write a book. And I can definitely relate to feeling the bigness of writing a book. I will say that writing a book is usually the bigness of it and the fears of it fall into one of three categories. Either, and I'm just looking off to my I just have a few notes on my tablet. It's either going to be our fears of where a fear or inadequacy in one of three areas. It's either fear of lack of writing skills. It's either fear of, feeling like you've got imposter syndrome or you're not worthy enough or you don't know enough to write your book. Or number three, it's fear of success or failure with the sales and the reception of your book. Some people have all three. It's like, I don't know, like me and writing, we are like oil and water. Other people may feel like, okay, I might be decent at writing, but I don't know if I'm, an expert enough to do this. And then here's where I fall in because I'm Batman when it comes to number one and two. Writing skills, check. Feeling like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to writing, check. But my fears have been in the area of the fear of success, fear of failure. It's just like, oh my God, if I put out a book and it's not a bestseller, that's going to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, which is dumb because bestseller means best seller, not best written. Okay. It means that you had a great marketing plan, you executed it well, and for that week on Amazon, you outsold everybody in that one particular category. That's all it means. Real quick, don't just watch this video about writing a book. Get working on yours today. Head over to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps and download my free guide, 4 steps to start writing your book. In it, you're going to find practical tips and exercises that'll get you moving right now and keep you going until you finish your first draft. That's writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. Okay, let's get back into this video. Because bestseller means best seller, not best written. Okay, it means that you had a great marketing plan, you executed it well, and for that week on Amazon, you outsold everybody in that one particular category. That's all it means. But I'm ascribing so much meaning and so much stuff to like, that I literally wrote a book 5 years ago and didn't publish it. So I'm Robin. Hi, nice to meet you. So I know that the, like you ladies said, writing a book can feel so super big. What I want to do today is give you a really quick, actually, you know what? Before I even give you an exercise, I'd love to know, what is your industry? What is your field? And what are some ideas that you have about a type of book that you could write? Tess, you want to lead us off real quick, and I'll take a sip of water.
So just speaking. Yeah, so my field is marketing and tech for coaches. And I totally understand the fear you're talking about, because it's like, okay, whenever I put something out, if it doesn't you know, reach astronomical numbers, are people going to think I don't know how to market? But, like you say, there's so many factors involved, so we can't look at it like that. But in terms of a book, yeah, I feel like it's those conversations you have with somebody when they are learning so much from you because they didn't know this stuff, and you're thinking, oh, I kind of know this stuff better than they do, quite a lot better than they do. This is news to them. And then you realize the value, because you walk around with this knowledge all day and think everybody must know this. And those conversations is what really kind of helps you identify, oh, I could write a book for beginners that really explained exactly where to get started with their marketing and what kind of tech they need. So yeah, of course, there are books out there, but this would be my book that would be in my voice and with my tips. Yeah. But I'm still not doing it.
Help you, like, at least take a step, take a baby step. I'm all about baby steps. So, Shantae, what industry are you in, and what are some books that maybe you've tossed around in your head, like, maybe I could write this book?
Yes. So I am in marketing and design and creativity. And I randomly, a book idea fell into my lap like 3 days ago, just out of nowhere. And I was like, oh my stars. I'm like, yes, this is a book. And it's a self-help book, and it's a book that would help underdogs, diverse women, specifically Black women. And the thing that's so strange about this is a book that I am kind of living while I'm also looking to write it. I'm like, I'm figuring this out as I'm writing it. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And then I saw this workshop. I'm like, oh, I was just thinking about, starting to write a book. So I feel like Tess, in the sense of, this would be my book, this would be my voice. I'm not worried about, has this been done before? Although the specific angle that I have not seen before. But either way, I think I win because I'm gonna do it.
I mean, excuse me. Sorry, Lord have mercy. And Desian, what area are you in, and have you thought about writing a book?
Yes, yes. Hi, everybody. So I am a virtual assistant, coach, and trainer, and I
I'm
also
sorry.
a virtual assistant, coach, and trainer, and I also help persons create online courses. I have a topic for like 3 years now, and I have done nothing with it. It's focused on addressing mindset issues. So when you said imposter syndrome as one of the fears, I was smiling. So it is going to be focused on my experiences as getting into the industry and getting into business, but also providing tips and recommendations and that kind of stuff to a person. So it will take somewhat of a storytelling type path. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I love
So
it.
Yes,
Do I hear a little Trini in your voice?
I am a Trini. Are you a Trini?
No.
Oh,
First of all, I mean, you hear my voice. I'm a blonde head, but my mother was born in Just Van Dyke, which is a British Virgin Island,
yes.
and my male chromosomal contributor was
Yeah.
born in Platola. So BVI,
Ah,
BVI, BVI, BVI.
yes, yes, yeah. Okay.
All righty. Okay, Caribbean party over. All right. So thank you, ladies, so much for sharing, where you are right now and what you've been what you've been thinking about. So I have a really quick exercise that we can try here today. The actual title of my workshop or my presentation today is how to choose a client attracting hold on, because this is in my way. Zoom is in my way. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, how to choose a client attracting topic for your book. So, a lot of us were in business or we're building a personal brand around an idea or a topic. And a lot of us want to make sure that our book not only positions us for industry networking, but also positions us to get clients. So whether we're going to be, taking on consulting clients, or we have, like Tess has an app, software clients and software and coaching, whatever it is that we're selling, we want to be able to attract that right audience to us. That's going to ultimately, a portion of them will ultimately want to hire us for our services or purchase whatever we have or subscribe to whatever we got going on. So here you have to always start with the end in mind. When I work with my clients, I have a whole list of questions, but they all are focused on, well, what are your goals for the book? Who are you looking to attract? You have to know who your audience is. All right. Number one thing. Okay. Pet peeve. I'm about to give a mini rant. I cannot stand when people say, well, my book is for everyone. I'm like, oh my God. No, it's not. Okay. Your book is not for everyone. What you do is not for everyone. There is a specific group of people that you are meant to help and serve. Now, can everyone potentially benefit? Maybe they can, but you want to target your message to the group of people who this is generally meant for. And so, people in business, whether you are an employee, you are an entrepreneur, or like myself, a little bit of mix of both, got both, but one foot in each world, you are still looking to make sure that you're attracting people that will give you those opportunities that take your business and your brand to the next level. So, start with the end in mind, know who your client base is, and write the book to that potential client. So here's a quick little exercise that you can do to help refine. Because another thing that I come across is a lot of times people are like, I have so many ideas, I don't know what to write about. So I want to challenge us. So break out a pen, paper, or a tablet, or what have you. I have my little notepad here and pants. I always have a crap ton of book ideas because that's just me. But I'd like to challenge us to come up with 3 book ideas that you could potentially work on over the next couple of months, years, however long you want to take to write on it. But this exercise just has 3 quick parts. So, number one, I want you to think about that book idea and try to summarize it into a sentence. So what that book is about, it could be kind of like a working title for you, whatever, what have you. But summarize it into a sentence and try to come up with 3 to 5. I said I wrote down 5, but for time's sake, let's just do 3. Your sentence should have 10 words max. Because if you can't really summarize that sentence, maybe you're not really clear. So we want to be clear. We want to be clear. So you're going to think about 3 different book ideas. You're going to write a sentence just summarizing what that book idea is about. And then you're going to look at those 3 ideas and say, well, which of these is the one that's best aligned with your offer, with what it is that you do, with your coaching, with your consulting, with your app, with whatever it is that you offer. So let's take about 3 or 5 minutes. 3 or 5 minutes. It's 125. So in 5 minutes, just really quickly, write down those book ideas, summarize them, make sure they have 10 words or less, and then I would love to hear what your book ideas are. I should have been prepared with some music, but I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So let's see, where are we? Well, it's 125 where I am. I'm on the East Coast. So in 5 minutes, we'll reconvene and share our sentences. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. I was trying to look for some kind of timer thing, but I'm a bit of an amateur at this. Sorry. We'll just have to use our phones.
Yeah, no worries. I'm looking at my clock.
Okay, great.
So
Thanks,
go
Denise
for it,
Renee.
and we'll be back in 5 minutes. I'll be the human countdown.
Okay.
Alrighty, so about 2 more minutes. right. Oh, well, that was fast. Okie dokie. So I do have some. And I know 5 minutes might not be like enough, especially to condense. I personally, I'm very verbose. So usually my first draft of anything is usually longer and it takes me a minute to like edit it down and like get it down. But if any of you have been following any of my content, you know that I am in the process of finishing up said book from 5 years ago, finishing up the edits and getting ready to publish it. And I've been inviting people along into the journey in case you're interested. So the name of that book is Write Your Book, 10 Mindset Hacks to Move You from Fear to Finish. So you can kind of cheat. And I like to use like a short 1, 2, or 3 word title. And then I use the subtitle to like really explain the next thing. So you can cheat that way too. And I think that fell under 10 words in my subtitle. But I do have 2 other books that I am ambitiously planning on also finishing writing and publishing this year. We'll see how that actually goes. But the next one that I want to do is Sell Your Book. 13 13 book selling lessons from the first 13 episodes. So last year I started a podcast where I interviewed other people who are selling their books, and they wrote self-publishing, they're selling their books. And so I interview them for what are your selling tactics, because we can write a book and that's great. Then you got to sell it. So I'm going to be writing it and promoting it as a way to promote the next season of the podcast before it comes out. So I'm ambitious. But then in January, I did a 31-day writing challenge, and it sparked another book idea for me. And I'm brand new, hot off the press. I don't know if this will get done this year, but I want to call it Tell Your Story, 31 Prompts to Uncover Your Business, to uncover business and life lessons that will spice up your social posts, presentations, and media appearances. That's definitely more than 10 words, but you get the idea. It's kind of clear. So I'm going to kind of repurpose that and repackage, what I did. I'm not going to like repost the post as the book. I have a whole other way of presenting it, but that's my ideas. So you got something juicy, exclusive, hot off the press. So I'd love to hear what you ladies came up with. And if you only came up with one, that's fine, but I'd love to hear it.
Who wants to go first?
I know. Who wants to go first?
Shantae, do you fancy it?
Sure, I'll go first. Okay, so yeah, Denise, you're not getting 3 book ideas out of me in 5 minutes, but you did push me because I only had 1 and now I have 2. So your exercise did work. Okay. Book idea number 1, working title, but it's around the idea and the concept of being a lighthouse. I am very much a lighthouse. I like to shine a light for others to lead the way. And I also like to attract my biggest light. So it's either how to ignite and attract your biggest, sparkliest life. That's kind of what my newsletter is about creatively. And the second book idea is basically it's when it's you. I wanted to title it either When It's You or You're It. And it's for like when you're the one that's up to bat. And when everyone in your circle, your friends and family are waiting for you to go first, to go for it, but you don't have anyone around you to kind of show you the way. And you're the only one in your circle that's that big. So both of the audiences, I think, are the same. It's for underdogs and unassuming people, and it's for the sidekicks and the Robins, but that are truly leaders inside and just don't know how to do it.
Gotcha. I love it. I thought of You Got Next as a title.
That was a good one too.
I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I have to say, Shantae, that was fantastic. And you haven't even written your book yet, and I'm excited for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. So I only have one book, really, because I don't think I feel fired up about any of the other topics that I could think of, right? So the book idea that I had is called Ditch the Fads, FAD, and FAD stands for fear, anxiety, and doubts, right? So basically, I have, what did I write? So Ditch the Fads, identifying the fears, anxieties, and doubts hindering your business success. So, my book is geared to females who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, but they always hesitate because they have those fears, those anxieties, and those doubts in their mind. Can I do this? The imposter syndrome, and all of those things that play in our head, those voices. And again, it's based on my personal experiences. So, as I go through each one, I will share tips on how I overcame them and how they can probably apply some of what I'm sharing to help them make that next step.
I love it. That was like amazingly clear. I'm like, boom, I see it. I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Okay, and Miss Tess.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm obviously trying to reach coaches, especially ones that are new to it. I was thinking like how to launch your solo coaching business, ditch the 9 to 5 and succeed as a solopreneur. So yeah, it's basically all those
Clear.
people who are
Love
thinking,
it.
I want to leave corporate. But it's also then the kind of follow-ups in the 5 sentences or 3 sentences, more like avoid the classic mistakes that most, coaches make when they start out, set up systems ready for growth and systemize your coaching and, that kind of thing, just to kind of say, like, lay those foundations and then skip the bit where you're just waiting and waiting and waiting to grow. Like, I'm just going to explain how to do it kind of thing, so that's the idea.
I love that was like so totally written like a copywriter. That's okay.
Okay.
I'm little geeks about this stuff. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So now you might be thinking, okay, this is cool. Like I got a little idea going. And you know what? I love when love helping people kind of figure out their clarity. And I'm always like, give yourself a working title, even if this doesn't wind up being the end title that gets put on the book. But it gives you a focus and it gives you something to think about. So you might be thinking, okay, this is great. I've got an idea. It's kind of crystallized in my head who it's for, which is important. You might be thinking, well, what do I do next? If you don't have a writing process, if you don't have a writing practice, if you're just like, okay, well, maybe I journal every now and then, or I make, posts on LinkedIn, but a book is, requires a lot more. So I have a free resource that you can go ahead and download, check it out. It is called 4 Steps to Start Writing Your Book. And you will find that this exercise kind of condensed a couple of steps there, but it will definitely give you a nice little pathway to follow so that you're like, okay, I can do this. Throughout, you will also find some links to some helpful videos that are on my YouTube channel, so that you can, go through those at your leisure, and they will help you through your writing journey. I definitely would encourage you, where even if you are not like, I want to write and publish this book, this year, just get started, right? Get started. I put out a video maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. If you follow me on LinkedIn, if you're not already connected on LinkedIn, please connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a DM. Just say, hey, I was in the class today. Send me the video you were talking about. I put out a video, and it was actually based on um, a comment that Paulina had made. And I was like, oh, you know what? I bet you other people think this way too. Let me pull some, put this video together and put some tips. So there are tips for people who you have an idea for writing a book, you want to write that book, but you're not ready to like, fully commit. So I gave some like baby steps that you can take on a regular daily, weekly basis where you can be working towards the book, but you're not like ready in like book writing mode, but they help you get started and keep moving. And then when you're like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to like kick this into high gear and really finish this up, of course you can do that. So I'd love to get that video to you in as well. So please connect with me on LinkedIn and DM me and say, hey, send me that video and I will send you a link to that video. So I would love to, we have about 20 minutes left in the session. I would love to just answer any questions that you might have. Listen, normally, session with me, you have to come out of mine a little bit now for a session. Take advantage of some free coaching. So whatever questions you want to toss at me about book writing, let's go. Let's have that.
I've got a question actually regarding like the services that you offer. It'd be really interesting to know what kind of things do you offer? Do you like have some kind of group program or your one-to-ones? Like, do you have an accountability group, just to help people with these things? It's good to know what kind of services there are.
So primarily I work one-on-one. I do want to start a group program, but I feel like I need to grow my audience larger so that, because I tried starting a group program like 2-3 years ago. I had like one person. I'm like, one person is not a group. So, so I'm like, I need like a critical mass of people on my email list and who are like really engaged before I can say, hey, let's, toss this thing out and maybe I can get like, somewhere between 5 and 10 people as an initial group. So it is something that I am planning on, but right now I primarily work one-on-one. Like I told you at the beginning, I do have a digital product that is basically my coaching in an ebook, and we'll walk you through the process of getting started and continuing and finishing up your manuscript. So that will be available in maybe about 2 weeks or so. And then I have a 1 month coaching commitment and then a 2-month coaching commitment. So, and then you can also just like, hey, I just need an emergency session, or I just need your opinion. Or if you've already written and you want an editorial assessment, that's available as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking, the way we do our accountability groups where we do co-working, I could really see that being a way that people would be like, I've got to get my writing done in that hour once a week with Denise Renee, because she's going to, she's going to be saying, where were you if you don't show up? And I think people would pay for that accountability, even if you just sat there and put the timer on.
Yeah, that's part of what I'd love to incorporate. But again, I feel like I need to get a critical mass of people before I offer that. Again, I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this one person thing.
Okay. Any questions from Shantae or Desian?
I just have an observation. It's, I had the book idea a couple of days ago and I was like, okay. And I just wrote it down on a Post-it and I'm just kind of looking at it. And this is the first time that I'm actually talking about it and like writing it down. And like, there is this little spark inside of me that just grew that was like, oh my God, I'm freaking writing a book. And this is the most amazing feeling ever. Like I want this feeling all the time.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it feels really good. So thank you. I feel like the questions that I would have would be towards the end. I feel like I can commit and write a bunch of essays. As far as like structure, I think the questions I'd have would be towards like self-publishing or shopping it around or knowing when it's done. Though I think that's the back end for me. Yeah.
Okay. I'm definitely here and around when you're ready to ask those specific questions. To be honest, it's like you're gonna have to make knowing when it's done, you're gonna have to just cut it off, because there'll always be something that you can tweak or fix or add or take away or whatever. So you'll have to be like, okay, done, right? But definitely I love that I've helped to, fan you already had the spark and I've helped to fan the flame a little bit. I would say my best advice to people is to, especially if you're not already in the habit of writing, develop a writing habit. Just 15 minutes a day. I like to call it an RTG, really tiny goals. Set up really tiny goals, because everybody can make 15 minutes in their day. Like, you'll never find the time will never magically appear. You're never going to, okay, this Saturday I'm going to spend 8 hours writing my book. No, you're not. You're going to sleep in.
Yeah.
You're going to roll over. You're going to want to decompress
Right.
from the week. You're not going to take this massive amount of time to write a book. You're just not. But if you can commit at the very least 15 minutes a day. Now, if you, in your 15 minutes, if you sit down and you go over that 15 minutes, great. But at least you have been able to get something done. And I'm actually about to release a series. I'm calling it the Writer's Toolkit. And it's really just breaking down every little step. And I think the first thing I'm talking about is setting up a writing schedule. The second one is really about how to like start getting words flowing on the page, and then just what to do throughout the whole process. So definitely subscribe on YouTube because it's coming. But yeah, best thing you could do, daily writing habit, at least 15 minutes a day, at least.
Okay.
And you keep that spark going. And you know what? It's a mental thing too, because then it's like, you know how when you make a to-do list and you finish off that to-do list and you're like, yes, right? It makes you feel really good. And you just want to tackle the next to-do list the next day. Same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like when you feel like, oh, check, I've done my writing for the day. Yes. You're really excited to come and do it again tomorrow. So little mental hack.
The dopamine rush. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Does Deanna any questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there like a minimum number of words or chapters or pages for it to be considered a book? Or does it really matter?
Nope. Let me hold on a second. Eh. So this book here is from one of the ladies, and I don't know if she's still active in the group, but this is from Kendra Corman. She's another marketing person. You see how, but it does not have to be this big, monstrous. 80 pages. This book is 80 pages, but it's so helpful and so useful and so impactful and so punchy. So it kind of depends on the kind of book that you are writing. So this one, her book is called Mastering AI in Communications. It's a practical guide to enhancing efficiency with AI and create the create prompt framework. So it's teaching something really specific. So, she can just get in there, tell you what it is, and get out. If you're telling more of your personal story or your professional story around teaching some principles, well, maybe it'll be a little bit longer. So there is really no magic formula to how long or how short a book should be. The most important thing is that it should be focused on the topic. Like, the title should be clear as to what's going to be delivered in the book, and everything in that book needs to service that title. Clarity. That is the most important thing. If it's War and Peace long, if it takes you that long to come out with the clarity, fine. If it's 80 pages short, fine. So I would really focus on the quality of the content and not so much how long it is. So I hope that helps.
Denise Renee, do you have any tips for us, or just explaining what the end of it's like once it's ready? Like, what's the publication process like, and how long does it take? Is it self-publishing you generally say people should try?
I am a self-publishing proponent, so I will always champion that. There are pros and cons. The pros is that there's nobody to tell you no. So you can go ahead and get that book out there. The con is that there's so many errors that can be made, or there's so many ways that you can kind of make missteps, especially on the first book, and it doesn't come off looking professional, that it could kind of shoot your efforts in the foot. So there's lots of room for error, but there's also lots of room for growth. The pros of going with a publisher, finding, you'd have to go through either finding an editor that has connections to the publishing houses, or finding an agent who's willing to represent your book. And the thing with rejection in the publishing industry is not personal. It's just, well, what does this publishing house focus on? Are they young adult novels? Are they fantasy novels? Are they business books? Are they spiritual books? So it's finding the right publishing house for your niche. And then it could be, well, you may be getting, sending submissions and getting rejected because they already have a book similar to your topic, um, that's slated for release, or that they just released, so they don't want to compete with that. So it's not for them at this point in time. So it's not necessarily, listen, these companies are in business to make money. So they're making business decisions. But a lot of times people are like, well, this is my idea, baby, and you're rejecting me. So that's kind of why I like self-publishing, because it's like there's no one, there's no big company to reject you. Um, so I do, of course, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do have content on my channel where I break down what are some things to consider in the self-publishing process. I think the biggest thing that people kind of underestimate is paying for editing. And it's not because I'm an editor, but it's really easy to be like, oh, I just wrote the best thing since sliced bread, and it could use some tweak, or it could use a lot of tweaking.
Honestly, when even if I've written a long blog, I can't even see the words anymore, because when you've written it yourself, you can't be critical. You think, did I write? You don't notice if you've repeated a paragraph or anything. You need somebody fresh to look at it for sure.
You do. So definitely making sure that you invest wisely in your editing process, getting a good cover done, and then figuring out, how am I going to be marketing this book? What are going to be my marketing activities? So it does take your own investment to do that, but who better to invest in you than you? So
Very true.
that's why I'm like, team self-publishing.
That's great. And so is this part of what you offer with your service as well, like talking people through that whole process? Do you help them to self-publish, or do you just send them to resources where they can learn?
No, I send them to other people because my specialty is
Sure.
writing and
Okay.
getting your words all the way together. But I do
Right.
know that, okay, I feel like, I have this responsibility to at least educate you about the self-publishing process, which is why I have my podcast, Sell Your Book. And, every now and then I'll do um, some content around that. And it's also why I'm showing my self-publishing process as I'm going through it, because that'll be a resource for people as well. So it's like,
Very
the same
helpful. Yeah.
questions that I have to answer, you're going to have to answer too. We may all answer them differently, use different services, or make different choices, but at least it'll be like, okay, these are some of the things I need to think through. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
So we have about 8 minutes left. Any other questions? Any other comments? Do we want to talk amongst ourselves, or do we want to say peace out?
How many books have you written?
How many for other people?
Yeah, and yeah, both. You just seem like a book writing machine.
Which is why it's insane that I haven't published a book under my own name. It's insane in the main breed. But anyhow, how many? Okay, two manuscripts that I ghost wrote are published. There are 3 other manuscripts that I ghost wrote, and I don't know what happened to them because I fell out of touch with the no, not, I mean, that sounds bad, like I fell out. No. We fell out. No, I just fell out of touch with those authors. So I don't know what they did. Edited maybe about 7 or 10 books or so. Some of them are published. And that's the other thing with self-publishing too, because I might work on a project with someone, but they may decide not to publish that book. That anything can happen. So I probably work with more people than have actually published their books. for a variety of reasons. So that's one thing. But how many, I mean, my poor little Google Drive is filled with manuscripts galore for myself in various stages of completion or incompletion. And I write both fiction and nonfiction. So, but right now I'm focused on getting my business books done. So those are in the nonfiction realm. I have a feeling that once I start publishing my books, I'm gonna just be like, books.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I just have to get over myself and get over the hump of the first one, and then I'm just gonna be dropping books like they make it rain in the clubs in Atlanta. I mean, that's what.
Well, you know how like therapists need therapists and coaches need coaches. I mean, it is easier if you give it to another editor to take a look because it's the same problem. You can't read the label from inside the jar some of the time. You know, it's so much easier to edit other people's stuff, isn't it?
Like I said, I mean, I'm pretty good at being self-critical. I'm very good at being self-critical. But my problem is not the writing. It is not the writing. It is that fear of the failure or success. It's just like, it's just
Yeah.
the internal self-talk.
Yeah, it's mindset.
That's all it is. So actually, I did a video about that on my channel. I'm like, yeah, this is how I wrote a book 5 years ago. These are my confessions. Call me Usher.
I think a lot of people will relate to that, I think. You know, it's fear of failure, even fear of success. Your life's going to change, you know.
But I'm just like, what? The fears are still there, but I'm like, yeah, we're just going to move ahead anyway, because I've realized how much it's kind of helped me back. So I'm like, yeah, we know what it's like to not do it. So let's go find out. Let's go on an adventure and find out what happens when we do it. Let's do it.
Yes. Yes.
We'll be cheering for you.
Yes.
Hyping you up. Well, that's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Denise Renee. You know, it's really got us thinking.
Incredible.
Spurred us into action. And, you know, I was like, oh, not me, a book. And I've got somebody else chasing me right now saying, you should be speaking. And I'm like, I don't want to get on a stage. But like, the more it forces you to kind of think, what would I have to say? We all have something to say, don't we? And we should be, our voices need to be heard. Like, you know, not enough women are getting out there and doing this. So yeah, we should just like hype each other up and go for it.
Yes.
So a few just last words. So again, if you want to take your idea that we just generated to the next step, download my free resource at writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. And let me send you that video that I made in response to Paulina. Just send me a DM on LinkedIn and I will send it to you to help you just, you know, take baby steps.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Great.
Thank
you
so much.
the
recording now, and I probably should have stopped it ages ago, but
Okay. Now, I hope you found that video so helpful. If so, go ahead and leave me some comments down below. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box as well. Now, if you want to take this exercise that you just did to the next level, I encourage you to watch one of these videos next because it will help you further on your book writing journey. So go ahead and click into it, and I will see you on the other side.